And right now, we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick here with Katie Greifeld, taking you through to that closing bell. It's a global simulcast. Carol Massar and Tim Stenovec join us now. Welcome to our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms, television, radio, our partnership with YouTube. A rebound from yesterday here with a big bump from NVIDIA, Apple, quite a few others, but a big drag down by IBM, Microsoft, and some of the software companies.
Yeah, absolutely. The churn a little bit among some of those well-known names. Having said that, you know, you're still seeing some outperformance when it comes to tech names. You've got, what, the NASDAQ 100, Tim, right now up about 1.2%.
Yeah, I think people still concerned about what's happening out of the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, Katie, it's leading to higher oil prices. Just in the last half hour, we heard that the U.S. military says it started more Iran strikes today. That was at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Once again, we're seeing oil prices higher.
Yeah, absolutely. You take a look at Brent trading around $85 a barrel here, and it does kind of make the case that maybe the inflation figures that we got this morning that are leading to a bump when it comes to the equity market, that drop down in yields, maybe that already looks stale when you think about what we're seeing on the geopolitical front, but still certainly fueling quite a rally in the bond market.
And we talk about that rally in the bond market, pushing yields on the 2-year down about 10 basis points, if you can believe it here. So a lot of people not buying into the idea, at least today here, that the Fed is going to hike rates anytime soon. I don't know if this ends up being a Goldilocks situation for Kevin Warsh, who we saw on the Hill earlier today. He can be as hawkish as he wants in terms of his commentary, but as far as moving rates right now, it does look like they're going to be pinned where they are for a while. We get the closing bells here in New York. Green across the screen for all of the major U.S. indices. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, that's your relative laggard on the day, only up about 30 points or just a little bit less than 0.1%. The S&P 500 is going to add about 29 points or 0.4%. The NASDAQ Composite up 0.9%. The NASDAQ 100 up 1.1%. And the Russell 2000, Carol, adding about 12 points or 0.4%.
All right, you finished with small caps. I'm going to go back to the big cap names, the S&P 500. 204 names in the S&P 500 higher today, Katie, 296 to the downside, and you've got about 3 unchanged.
You take a look at the circle, which measures our sector performance. You have 6 sectors in the green, and it's information technology leading the way. Look at that bright green slice, higher by about 1.3%. Also a good day for communication services, higher by about 1.1%. In terms of what didn't perform today, it's pretty interesting. Healthcare down about 1.9% as a sector. That is your biggest drop to the downside. Consumer staples also off by about 1.4%, Carol.
All right, guys, let's get to some of the individual gainers. I'm going to start with a bunch of the financial names because we definitely saw, 5 big banks reporting earnings, 3 of them rallying in today's session. Let's take a look at JP Morgan. It was up 2.5%. Goldman Sachs soaring today, up 9%. B of A also moving to the upside, just shy of 2% here at the close. I mean, Wall Street traders coming out on top as the biggest U.S. banks reported record results from their equities divisions. JP Morgan Chase and Goldman achieving personal bests and new industry highs. We've seen the AI boom and constant repositioning by clients have driven the success of some of the biggest trading desks at some of these banks, despite concerns about war and inflation. So again, JP Morgan bagging its highest quarterly profit ever. Goldman Sachs trouncing its own Wall Street stock trading records. That stock, as we just mentioned, soaring. It's also looking to raise at least $8 billion from a high-grade bond sale. And B of A's stock traders notched a record during the second quarter, benefiting from that market volatility. Its investment bankers, too, capitalizing on some deal-making resurgence. And then I'm just going to go over to the chip makers. They give it, they take it away, they give it again. It's kind of our new favorite parlor game, watching semiconductors. The stocks today, as a whole, up about 2.5%. We had all 30 down yesterday. I think we have 26 to the upside today in the index. And then I just want to mention AMD, because some outperformance there, up about 2.5%. Some street calls there. KeyBank Capital raising their target on AMD to $725 from $530. Stock closing at $548 and change, maintaining an overweight, writing that strong AI data center demand is driving chip momentum. And so KeyBank expects AMD capacity next year to support unit growth of more than 50%. B of A also raising the firm's price target to $620 from $550 and keeping a buy rating on the share. So the good stuff continues. There's also Bloomberg Intelligence out and just kind of being pretty upbeat about a lot of names in the chip space.
Okay, those are
And
the
you just mentioned SK Hynix too, Carol. A big
yeah.
rebound there in those ADRs, up 27% at the close.
Oh, how did I miss that one?
I don't know.
That was my gift to you, Romaine. on
I
this
don't know.
Tuesday.
Tim, don't miss anything.
My gift to you are some stocks that move lower. Lucid Group, the EV maker, only sells a few thousand cars a year, as Ed Ludlow reminded us a little earlier today, down 16%. The company, as Ed and David Welch report, is working with restructuring advisors to turn around its struggling business. It's confirmed it's working with Alex Partners. The company has dismissed rumors, though, that it's considering bankruptcy as, quote, completely false, and said it has sufficient liquidity to carry its operations well into next year. Look at that chart there if you're watching on TV. You can see shares fell very sharply just before 2 o'clock today, down as much as 57% before pairing declines to close 16%.
It's like diving,
lower.
like on a reef, cliff diving.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot
Wall
of different
diving.
images
Yeah.
that shows.
It's evocative.
Once again, Lucid Group down more than 16%. Another company, Romaine, you mentioned this, shares of software makers fell, all thanks to what we heard from IBM early this morning. IBM shares, how's this for superlative? Falling the most going back to at least 1968. Shares down about 25% throughout the day and staying there. The company came out with preliminary second quarter sales that fell short of expectations. It said the miss is due to customers shifting their spending to chips and servers amid these AI-fueled shortages. Arvind Krishna, the CEO, said the company failed to predict that its customers would shift their spending from IBM's products to servers, storage, and memory purchases.
I love the
Benchmarks for their price.
1968 thing, because that's basically as far back as the data go. After 1968, the Bloomberg terminal just breaks down. But I was looking it up. It's funny. I didn't realize they went public like in 1915 or something.
Is that when
Yes.
you were born?
Yeah. Thank you, Carol Massar.
You're welcome.
But anyway, fun fact there. Tim Stenovec, who I was speaking to.
All right, let's talk a little bit, very briefly. Citi shares fell today. The company plans to spend more on tech and AI. It could help whittle down headcount in the second half of the year. Shares fell by 5.3%, just one of the 5 big banks to report today. Carol mentioned some of the others. And finally, I want to end with Yum Brands. Shares fell after the Washington Post reported that federal and state health officials are investigating whether Taco Bell, it's owned by Yum Brands, whether those restaurants played a role in the recent U.S. outbreak of gastrointestinal illness caused by a parasite that contaminates fresh produce. Separately, Taco Bell removed some ingredients at select restaurants as a precaution amid an outbreak of a parasite that causes severe diarrhea. Shares of Yum Brands down a little more than 2% today.
All right, let's take a quick look at yields. We talk about the volatility in equity markets, but we continue to see that volatility in the Treasury space as well. We saw the yield on the 2-year go down about 9 basis points here on the day. A bit of buying coming back in to the short end of the curve, largely based on that relatively cool CPI report.
All right, guys, let's get to some stories on our radar. This one definitely caught Tim and my attention. Passengers falling asleep, spilling drinks, dropping food, vomiting,
Hey, come
experiencing
on.
Wow.
medical emergencies,
It's like the LIRR.
giving birth in self-driving taxis, complicating the rollout of Robotaxi services. I love this part. People are so drunk they're forgetting to close the door. So, like, the operators have to
Fall
get
in there,
to
you know?
nearby gig workers to, like, close
Carol,
the door.
what's happening to Carol?
This is crazy.
This was written for you, Carol. I love how much you love it.
Hey,
I took a flight on Sunday, and we were getting off the plane, and I walked by a guy who was still in his seat, completely asleep. And I was thinking to myself, when are they going to, tap this guy and tell him we've arrived? Because it had been about 15 minutes. I can only imagine what's happening in these robotaxis.
To that point, I mean, I feel like this is just public transportation problems. You have to imagine passengers across every mode of transit are falling asleep and spilling drinks and vomiting.
But it's become an issue for the first responders, because people walk by and they see somebody passed out and then they call 911 or something like that, and then the first responders come and they say, no, it's just some idiot taking a nap or
We
passed
actually
out
have a
drunk.
stat on that in the Bloomberg
Yeah.
story. Only about 3% of such calls require transporting the passenger to a hospital, but those calls are definitely happening.
Have you been
Romaine,
in one
when
of
you-
these? Have you been in one of these, Carol?
Oh, are you kidding?
Are you kidding? I'm in love with Waymos.
Oh.
I am in love. Anytime I'm in a city, I try to take them as much as possible.
And how many times have you
have.
passed out drunk in one?
Romaine, when you want to relax in your chauffeured SUV on the way home,
Yeah.
what do you have your driver put on?
My drive, well,
Yeah.
Sade,
Bloomberg Radio.
little Sade, little Bloomberg Radio.
Okay.
Depends. If it's the morning show.
You
with
actually
Tom,
get
I'll
into a
listen to that.
Waymo. It feels like in a spa. It's so nice.
That
The
is
car
nice.
is immaculate.
Yeah.
It's really quiet. Nobody talks to you.
You know, it's
Katie, do
funny.
they have these in New Jersey?
The loveliest,
don't
the
yet.
loveliest time was when my senior producer got into one of them in front of our hotel, and it couldn't figure out how to get out of the hotel driveway because there were so many cars and pedestrians, and she was basically stuck there for like 20 minutes.
There was that amazing story
She was
about
late for dinner, by the way.
Waymo's getting just congregating on a specific cul-de-sac and just getting in a doom loop and going in circles.
All right, looks like we're safe for now.
Can I just say, this is a first, I think, that we've done a closing bell where we've said both vomit and diarrhea.
Hey, there's always tomorrow.
There is always tomorrow. Something to look forward to.